Hello FPL managers and welcome back to FPL Wednesday Live by Fantasy Football Hub. We'll be talking you through the 6 p.m. games live from an FPL perspective. We will bring you all the goals, assists, bookings, injuries, dodgy VAR decisions and anything else live if it happens, but most importantly, what this means for FPL. We'll also have an eye on live bonus points, averages and courtesy stats of livefpl.net. My name is Andrew and I'm joined once again by one of the best FPL managers of all time. This guy has never finished outside the top 35k in 13 seasons of playing. He has 7 top 10k finishes, is well on his way to another one and also has 2 top 500 finishes to boot. It is the legendary Rich Clarke. So Rich, what is it like having football back?
Oh, hi Andy, and hi everybody. Great, yeah, really good. Slightly different, obviously, without the crowds and without the fans. But I think, as a fantasy football player, we've all got that extra game incentive alongside the empty stadiums to make it worthwhile. So it certainly feels like it's worth watching, and that the game's back in full swing. So yeah, delighted to be back playing.
Wonderful. So we are live, so please give us a wave or a hello in the live chat. Tell us where you're from, what you want from the 6 p.m. games and who your captain is for the week. We are very interested to know. So guys in the chat at the moment, Kifion fan, Man United 4, Sheffield United 0. I can't say I'm going to argue with that. Looking at the Sheffield United lineup, we will bring you the lineups in just a second. And also looking at the United lineups as well. Hello, Fionn Leahy. Paul McNulty from the Sky Podcast. Hello, Paul. Willie Vanilli, Nadim SV, Guillermo Roldan, Assam I am Jones. Hello, all. Thank you very much for joining us. If you have any questions or comments or anything else, please feel free to put them in the chat. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel by clicking the red button in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen if you haven't already. So what we'll do, we will bring you all the goals and everything else. At halftime, we'll also bring you all the bonus points, and we will also have our halftime quiz. I'm going to give Rich a bit of a quiz at halftime, some football teasers and trivia to keep the grey matter working for Rich and for everyone else. And we will also bring the all-important team news from the Liverpool versus Crystal Palace game at 7:15. So on to the 6 p.m. games, which are Man United versus Sheffield United, Newcastle versus Aston Villa, Norwich versus Everton and Wolves versus Bournemouth. So, Rich, could you please give us the Wolves versus Bournemouth and Norwich Everton team news?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. It's a very settled-looking Wolves side at home to Bournemouth. The biggest change is that Adama Traore comes in after his great half hour at the weekend, comes into the side tonight, and then Donker drops to the bench. So Jimenez, Doherty, Bolly, Jota and all the popular guys all start tonight. Perhaps Neto's a bit unlucky after scoring a great volley to not get in the side, but he's on the bench again tonight. So Wolves very, very predictably lined up, and the popular Traore comes back. Yeah. The biggest change for Bournemouth is that Josh King is out after an ankle injury picked up against Crystal Palace. Stanislas looks like he's going to play off Callum Wilson up front, and the full team for Bournemouth is Ramsdale, Ake, Stacey, Steve Cook and Smith, Brooks, Billing, Lerma and Lewis Cook, and then Stanislas and Callum Wilson. I can give you the Norwich Everton if you want me to as well.
Yes, please, if you don't mind. Yeah, that'd be
great. So with Norwich, they make a number of changes after a fairly poor display against Southampton. 3 key fantasy players are out on the bench tonight. So Pukki doesn't start. Cantwell, also a very popular fifth mid, does not start, and Buendia also drops to the bench. Dermich comes in and starts up front, and Hernandez replaces Cantwell. So Norwich are clearly rotating a bit. They didn't look that fit against Southampton, and clearly after the display, they've been shaken up a bit. Everton, however, after a good 0-0 against Liverpool, stout defensive display, are pretty much unchanged at the back with Digne, Holgate, Keane and Coleman. They haven't got much choice at the back because of all the injuries they've got. I believe Bernard comes into the midfield this week. No place for Sigurdsson yet. Iwobi also starts. And again, the popular Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison start up front for Everton, and they were both very popular on this week's free hits and wild cards that a lot of people are playing.
That Norwich team, I wonder if they're resting their players, because they got the FA Cup on the weekend, haven't they? But are they giving up the ghost a bit in the league?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think they've got to try. Haven't they got to try and get 6 wins? So I just think maybe they're struggling a bit for fitness, and they'll probably bring those players on like Cantwell and Pukki in the second half. But yeah, maybe they're. I can't believe they're prioritising the cup though. Not until they're mathematically relegated.
Absolutely, especially still, Man United, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea are all still in the cup. So yeah. Hello, Andreas Xenofontos, Chung Chung Butia. He wants a 1-0 to Sheffield United. I don't think that would go down very well with all us as Man United player holders. Koosh, Mane, captain, need 3 goals and 3 bonus. And that's come from a Man United fan. Isn't it strange what FPL does to us? G10UV, DCL, Capitano, Calvert-Lewin. What a great pick that is, especially now knowing that Norwich lineup. They were weak anyway because they'd lost a couple of their defenders as well. And they've rested their best players. If you've got some Everton players, you're looking pretty good. Stephen Nana, Kwame Kins, Man United 0, Sheffield United 0. Paul says he likes the DSL captaincy. I do as well. John Tyner, hello John, welcome back. Great to have you back, John. John was a regular before we broke up for the lockdown. And Andreas Ritchie, captain, let's go. I think that's a great option. Who's your?
Andy, you're going to do team news for United?
I will do team news for United. Yeah. So the big news for Man United is Paul Pogba starts, as does Greenwood and Matic. So McTominay, Dan James, and Fred drop to the bench. And for Sheffield United, the big news, more deputises for the on-loan Henderson. The young Robertson keeps his place with Jagielka coming in alongside him. Lundstrom starts ahead of Sanderberger and McGoldrick ahead of McBurney. So this Man United team is looking very, very strong. So Man United line up De Gea in goals, Wan-Bissaka at right back, Lindelof and Maguire at centre back, Luke Shaw at left back. They then have Pogba, Matic, Greenwood, Fernandes, Rashford, and Martial. That is an incredibly attacking team by United. That is going to be, it's going to be good. On the substitutes bench, they have Bailly, Mata, Andres Pereira, Fred, Dan James, Romero, Igalo, McTominay, and Brandon Williams. So pretty good bench there as well, to be fair. Who have you captained, Rich? Have you gone for a United player?
Well, I've gone for a United player as my vice captain. So Fernandes is my vice captain, but because of my free hit strategy, I've still got all my Liverpool players, and I've captained Salah tonight. I'm looking for first of all, obviously, confirmation that he's starting.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
If he is starting, then he's on penalties because Milner is out, and he might be playing through the middle where he's got a very good record. So, yeah, hopeful on Salah and a big win against Palace personally. Okay,
and just to confirm the Sheffield United lineups, they've got Moore in goals. They've then got Basham and Baldock as fullbacks with Robinson and Jagielka as centre-backs. They've then got Fleck, Norwood, Lundstrom. They got Stevens. Look like, I'm not sure whether he's playing left wing-back, but looks like maybe playing fairly advanced. They've then got McGoldrick and Mousset up front. Their substitutes are Freeman, McBurney, Billy Sharp, another Freeman, Verips, Osborne, Rodwell, Zikovic, and Berger. And finally, for Newcastle, Aston Villa. So Newcastle, I believe they're unchanged following their great performance against Sheffield United on the weekend. I thought they were outstanding. Joe Linton scored. It snows in June. Incredible. For Villa, Nyland retains his place in goals while Samatta starts of the impressive youngster Keenan Davis. I thought he looked very good, that Davis. He was unlucky not to score against Sheffield United, and he looks a good player for the future. So the team's in full for Newcastle. Dubravka in goals. They've then got Manquillo, Lascelles, Fernandes, and Rose is at left back. They've then got Ritchie. So Ritchie playing as an out of position defender in midfield on set pieces as well. He looks like a really good option at the moment. Shelvey, Hayden, San Maximan, and Almiron behind Joe Linton. On their bench, they've got Shah, Carroll, Gale, Muto, Kraft, Yedlin, Lazaro, Darlow, and Bentaleb. Then for Aston Villa, you've got Nyland in goals, as we mentioned. We've then got Konza, House, Mings, and Target. We've then got Trezeguet, Douglas Luiz, McGinn, El Ghazi, Samata and Grealish. So a very strong team for Villa as well. I've been very impressed with Villa, actually. It's a shame Adam, he couldn't join us this evening because he was working, but he fancies a Villa win. And with that team,
they're trying, aren't they? They're putting in a lot of effort and they've tightened up a lot of the back, I think.
They are, yeah. So, looking forward to 4 really good games there. So
yeah. At the moment, I've got the United game on in front of me and the Norwich Everton game on in front of me. So I'll keep you posted on those. And obviously, Sheffield United looking a bit weak at the back with Henderson out, in particular, the goalkeeper's ineligible. And obviously the injuries to O'Connell and the suspension of Egan mean that they're pretty much down to the bare bones at the back. So they've got to put in an absolute cracking performance to keep United out tonight.
Hello to James Harden in the chat. Swapped captain from Salah to Bruno late doors. Why do I regret this decision before the kickoff? It's a bit 50-50. I personally think that Palace are a pretty good side defensive. I've got Salah in my team, but I don't really fancy him as captain, though there are rumours that he's going to be playing through the centre and he'll be on penalties as well. So he's a good shout, whatever. Marco says, don't regret. Willie Vanilli, question, I'm chasing 90 behind, but I still have my wild card. The guys ahead of me are all similar teams. None of them still have their wild card. Would you risk bringing in all differentials with wild card? Rich, you're the top 10k specialist.
I'd certainly try and bring some in. I wouldn't go crazy, but I think the disadvantage of early wild carders is that they've only got 1 week's worth of information. Yeah. So I'd probably wait till game week 33 now to the wild card. Just to get, next week the fixtures aren't great with Liverpool playing City, and I wouldn't want a wild card into that week. So you'll have 3 weeks worth of games to pick from. So yeah, I'd definitely go for a few differentials. People like Jesus and stuff like that maybe have not been picked this week. He'd be a great pick and save you some money as well. So I would do 3 or 4 key differentials would be a good way to go, and perhaps even Harry Kane.
Okay. SA Sports Fanatic says Greenwood will score. Manu Gifresta, you nearly had me. I was going to read it out. I'll read it out anyway, but he said, could you say happy birthday to my dad, Hugh Janus? So happy birthday, Hugh. Thank you, Manu. Appreciate your sense of humour. Really good. Happy birthday, Hugh Janus. Talking of Kane, Rich, what did you make of Kane last night?
I thought he looked a little bit rusty up until the point that he was put through. I still thought he was coming back to fitness. He didn't get a lot of the ball, a lot of service. Created 1 or 2 chances from outside the box, but I think he needed that goal, and now he's got that goal. I think what you'll see is he is a confidence player, and he tends to go on streaky runs of goals. So I think what worries me about Tottenham is I just don't think Tottenham are quite a good enough side to produce, a really long sequence of wins with high amounts of goals in there. They'll scrape wins and they'll win 1-0 or they'll draw. They're not necessarily going to be banging in the goals like they did under Pochettino. So that's the only caveat, really. Yeah,
sure. I've got to say I'm a Spurs fan, and that's the first time last night where I've seen Kane. He made 3 sprints to get, to kind of get ahead of the other Spurs attackers. He was unlucky on one where he dragged it just wide of the post. He obviously scored off one as well, and he could have had one right at the end, but that's the first time where I've actually seen him make those lung-bursting runs for about a season, actually. So I'm fairly hopeful, and I also think Lo Celso, we haven't seen a lot of him yet, but I think he looks an absolute class act, and I wouldn't be surprised if he takes over the Eriksen role in the coming season. John Tiny, you're right. Palace are Liverpool's bogey team. Who can forget that Monday night a few years ago when Liverpool were they 3-0 up and Palace came back to draw 3-3,
didn't it? Yeah. Suarez had a bit of a nightmare, didn't he?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I think there's been another result as well that kind of happened like that soon. But
well, they're going well, Palace, as well as that 4 wins on the spin and 4 clean sheets, isn't it? So they're going very well. But several slightly different prospects, and I think after a bit of a disappointing draw, I think they'll come out guns blazing tonight.
Yeah,
hopefully.
So the live averages have updated, and the live average now for the top 10Ks we can see has gone up to 12 as all the starting points all go on. The overall average is 10.5. So it'd be interesting to see. Let us know how you're looking against the average. I only had one player playing last night, and it wasn't the best because it was Harvey Barnes, who I was assured by an in the know that he would start, and he didn't start, came on for his 1-pointer, but I do have a lot playing this evening. I'm very, very hopeful. Captained Jimenez actually because I fancy him against Bournemouth. I've also got Fernandes, I've also got Salah and De Bruyne, etc. But I've gone for Jimenez. Let us know in the chat as well.
Jimenez, yeah, good choice. I think it could go well.
Bit of a differential because I'm chasing a little bit, but you never know. So all the games have kicked off, 0-0 so far in all the games. Just to give everyone some stats then, so some captaincy stats. The most captain player is Salah with 19.37. It's nice to see such a spread, actually. You don't normally see as much of a spread as this. So Salah 19.37%, De Bruyne 12.46%, Aubameyang 8.63%, Mane 8.31%, Vardy, who's already played, 7.29%. So obviously he got his 2-pointer last night. Aguero 6.84. You would imagine the ones that have been left on, so we can expect some vice points from there. Sterling and Jimenez under 5%, and Kane at 4%. Yes, apologies, Fiona, and don't talk about Cristambul. Apologies about that. And in terms of effective ownership, then, so this is for everyone on the game. We're seeing much lower effective ownerships now, as there's not that much player engagement, I would guess. But also there's so many options now as well. So De Bruyne is owned by 55% of the game with a 66% effective ownership. Salah is owned by 39.85% of the game with a 59% effective ownership.
1-0 Man United.
1-0 Man United. Oh goodness me! Yeah. Do we know who net, Rich?
I think it's Martial. I was just looking at something else. I'm just getting the replay now. I think it's Anthony Martial.
It is Martial. The guys on the chat are saying Martial. Be good if we can get the assist as well, guys.
Yeah, I think it might be. I think it could be Rashford. Yeah, it's Rashford assist.
Rashford assist. I got Rashford in my team as well.
Yeah, it's a big scorer combination. Yeah, Rashford pulls it back just off the byline. Easy tap in from the near post from Martial.
Fantastic. There was just a quick question about the Fernandes ownership. So Fernandes is captained by 3.78% of everyone, and he is 23% owned, which is still quite low, Fernandes, I think. So these are the overall stats and not the top 10k stats, but interesting stuff there. In terms of chips used, so far 3.4% of all wildcards were used in this game week, and just under 1% of free hit, bench boost and triple captain. Everyone is saying great goal. That's a very early goal for Man United. Blimey, I wonder if the floodgate's going to open there. That's not good for those with Sheffield United defenders there at all, is it?
Not today. No, I mean, if you're still hanging on to Lundstrom, Andrew, I don't know if you played him tonight, but he seems to be coming in and out of the side.
I have hung on to him, but he's third on my bench this evening. Thanks for everyone in the chat who said about the goals, guys. Much appreciated. So just looking at some transfers in then. So these are the transfers in. This is since the game week has ended. Jimenez is the most transferred in player with 19,000 transfers. Second most transferred in is Rashford with 18,600. Kane, after his performance, as I say, I think he was all right, and their fixtures are looking good as well. 15,500. Ings transferred in 12,000. Jesus, obviously after Aguero's injury. So for those who haven't heard, Aguero looks like he will be out for the season, or at least out for the Premier League season anyway.
Yeah, I think he's having an operation tomorrow. I think
he's already had it, Rich.
He's had it.
I think I saw on Twitter that he's already had it. So that is interesting. Martial shoots up to 9 points. Martial 13.5% owned. A couple of the guys have got Baldock and Lundstrom second and third sub. Yeah, I think they're probably better off there. Man United 1-9 on now to win that game. They're looking, looking like Man United could go on there. So we're 10 minutes in on all the other games. Have you spotted anything else, Rich, in any of the other games at all? Anything of interest?
Nothing much happening in Norwich Everton, which is the other game I've got on in front of me. No, I don't have any updates on Villa, Newcastle, or Wolves, Bournemouth at the moment. I think Nathan Ake's had a bit of an injury scare, but he hasn't gone off yet.
Okay. And just to confirm the transfers out, so no surprise, 11.7 million. Aguero transferred out by 50,000. Rich, do you think this makes Jesus a bit of a shoe-in?
I think Pep's still capable of rotating Jesus and playing Sterling up front. I think it probably heightens the attraction of like a Sterling or a Mahrez as a midfield player, because I think they're going to get more game time. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely now a good shout. And even if he misses the odd game, he's going to be on the end of so many chances for City. I think he's definitely a wild card target for me after the Liverpool game. But again, not till 33, I wouldn't think.
Yeah, I agree there, and I do think so. I think Sterling is. Haven't got Sterling. Had him in last week on the free hit, but he's normally the beneficiary as well, because Jesus is just not going to be able to play every game, right? So I think Sterling looks a good shout. Yeah. And I saw today that Pep said that Gundogan may be a shout, but
yeah, I don't know whether he was joking, but maybe Gundogan was more of a person to give De Bruyne a rest. But yeah, he might be right. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if City get through in the cup game. Then obviously it still means their fixtures are congested. If they went out of the cup, I'd say Jesus was a shoe-in, really. But be interesting to see who plays in the cup up front.
So some other heavily transferred out players. Vardy has been transferred out by nearly 17,000 managers. So you can imagine a lot of that was after last night, after he disappointed against Brighton. Grealish as well. So had high hopes for Grealish. I think even though Villa have played well, we haven't seen much of Grealish at all, have we? In the two games, they seem to have tightened up a bit, which is great for Villa, but maybe not that great for Grealish. So keep an eye on that one. Henderson transferred out by 10,000. That seems quite high, since their fixtures are quite nice for the rest of the season. I know he misses this week, but if we just have a quick look at Sheffield United's fixtures for the rest of the season, so after the game they have got Spurs, but then they got Burnley, they got Wolves, Chelsea, Leicester, Everton.
God, nearly 2-0 United.
Was that nearly 2-0, Rich?
Big chance for Rashford. Yeah, it's clean through. Martial rounds the keeper. Rashford just looks like he's got a tap in and was just tackled as he's about to tap it in. But yeah, almost 2-0 again. Rashford and Martial combining. Good defensive work there from Robinson.
Martial looking a good option seemingly then.
He's back on the radar now. Yeah, loads of options in midfield. I mean, there's so many options at that kind of £8 million price.
Is he still is he 8.5 million still? Across that?
I think he's 8.3. I'm not absolutely sure. He's come down a bit in price, Martial. 8 point. I don't know. I'll have to check for you.
Thanks for the guys in the chat. So thanks to Paul for all the commentary as well. SA Sports Fanatic, Egan third sub will switch him out for next week or the next game week after that. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily be wasting loads and loads of transfers really, on switching them out unless you need the cash. I think he's quite cheap anyway, and he also says Martial looking lively. Well, he's playing for his place now. I think this is what
he is actually only 8 million. So he's
8 million. Blimey.
8.0. Yeah. But a good price. I mean, if you're sort of wondering about paying the extra for Son, for 9.7, that's quite a lot more money that you could put. You could upgrade get Jesus up front. So Jesus and Martial looking at a nice combination. If you're offloading a Liverpool player week after next, that could be an option.
That is a really good shout. And as I mentioned, I think Martial he's playing for his place really, isn't he? Because Greenwood, who started now, like, on the right, he's their future up front, right? Potentially Greenwood. So I think, Martial really needs to step it up. And I think that is great for Man United to have all the competition, And imagine how great you feel as well having Pogba and Fernandes in behind you, feeding you the ball all the time, and Rashford as well. So
I mean, I've got this game on, and this looks like it's going to be 4 or 5-0.
Are they all over him? Are they? There we go.
It's
going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Games from last night. Then I know we kind of mentioned Spurs and West Ham already. I captained Son in Sky. I thought he was a bit unlucky. The one who impressed me most was Aurier. 4.9 million, not far out, playing as a right winger. Is he in your plans, Rich, for the coming game weeks?
He wasn't, purely because of the fact that Tottenham, I think someone told me that Tottenham have kept the fewest clean sheets out of any team, which really,
I think it's 4. Yeah. 4 out of 30.
So that kind of, up until yesterday, they kept another one. But he does look around that sort of 5 million price point to be the right third defender. If most people are going to go Trent and Doherty for the rest of the season, and they want a third defender they know is going to play. He's got no competition in that position, and he's slightly. I think he's got the most assists from any defender with 7 assists. So you're mainly getting him for assist potential rather than clean sheet potential. But at the moment, for instance, I've got 3 cheapies and Trent and Doherty, and really, I think most wild cards are going with Aurier in that spot.
Yeah. Paul in the chat says was lucky not to get bonus too. So he was in the bonus right until the death when kind of inexplicably Sanchez, I think, pinched the majority of the bonus for an assist off his arm, which he shouldn't have got, and Ben Davies ended up in there as well, I believe. So but watching him coming in from that right, he could have easily had a couple of assists, and I think even in the previous game against Man United, he had a run right at the start as well, where he could have shot or cost it in for a goal. So I thought Aurier looked good, and I also thought Bergwijn, even though he didn't play last night, Bergwijn, sorry, however we pronounce it, even though last night he didn't play or start, I thought he was really impressive as well. He's got a great turn of foot, and he made Maguire look like a bit of a fool on Friday night. So I think the Spurs okay.
Exciting player. Bergwijn.
Brighton have looked good as well. So they beat Arsenal, and then obviously they held Leicester last night. Anything from Brighton excite you at all, Rich?
No, I think they're just a team that is doing what they need to do to stay up, and they've come out and they've got 4 quick points on the board where you wouldn't necessarily expect them to get any against Arsenal and Leicester. United just went close again from a free kick there. Good save from the young keeper Moore. From United from a Fernandes free kick, nearly scored, but good save. Getting back to Brighton, I think they're no pushovers at the moment, and they've come out. They've got fit during the break, and they are not. I think who are they playing at the weekend? They're playing United, is it? Who are they playing?
Who? Sorry.
Who are they playing next in the next fixture?
Brighton have got Man United. Yeah, you're right. Just next week.
Again, I wouldn't necessarily think that's going to be a pushover, because they've started well.
Cool. Just a comment. Michael's fed in brilliant. I did a lucky wildcard pick of Schmeichel. Very lucky indeed. What did he get last night? Was it? It's on the screen there. He got a 14-pointer, only 2% owned. Well done, Michael. What a great pick out that is. In terms of your chip strategy, then, Rich, what chips have you got left, and what is your plan?
Oh well, I've written quite a long article about this, but I didn't go with the unlimited transfers and bench boost. It was the most popular restart strategy, and I think has proven to be the correct one. I free hit last week, mainly because my team this week was very well set up for these fixtures. I carried on making transfers during the lockdown,
the same.
And had a nice team for these games tonight and tomorrow. So I chose to free hit. I did okay. I got 90 points, but that's no great score last week. So I've lost a bit of ground, but I do still have my wild card left and my bench boost left. So the plan is obviously didn't make a transfer this week, 2 transfers next week. Don't like the fixtures to wild card next week, but I do like the fixtures to wild card into in 33, I think. And leaving it any later than that, I think might not get the benefit. So that's where I'm thinking now, week 33 with a bench boost floating. Not sure when I'll use that yet.
Cool. Yeah. Sounds good, and I think it's worked out well for those who've kept their chips. I used my wild card early, or just thing from Paul, another Rashford chance. Sounds like United.
Yeah, there was. Yeah,
sounds like United. Sounds like they're doing well.
They're all over them.
Yeah, I used my second wild card early. I used it in game week 23 because there was a change of Liverpool's fixtures, I think, from 24 onwards, and I used it basically to get in Salah and Mane, and I used a lot of transfers during the lockdown, same as you, to the team I got now. So it seems that being an engaged manager has actually cost us, Rich, because if we'd have gone unlimited transfers and bench boosts, we'd have probably had a better week. I only scored 81. I had Aguero captain. Actually felt quite fortunate in the end to get the assist in the second game after his injury. I was cursing my luck when he went off, but then obviously they brought it back and got the penalty. But and so he got the assist. But I was cursing.
Yeah, he got a pair of assists, didn't he? And he was only on the pitch for about 40 minutes. That's another goal. I think that's been ruled out. Maguire just knocked in a goal, but referees ruled it out.
On Maguire, was it?
Unchallenged off the corner. I mean, it was just a look like.
I've got Maguire in my team, Rich.
I do know it's been ruled out. He doesn't know why, but he's been ruled out for a push on one of the Sheffield United players.
I can't believe that. I got Maguire in my team. It could be a 15-pointer there. Look, it's just sod's law on it. Got a small anecdote from last week again about being an engaged manager. So I had Salah in my team, and then I heard some team news at 5-5 last Wednesday, just before the deadline, and that Salah hadn't trained. So I thought, I'll grab a martyr everyone here now who's kept Salah. I'll move him on to Mane. So I made that switch at 5-5 last week. Salah to Mane. Thought, I've got everyone here. Obviously, we all know what happened. Mane played, got nothing. Salah was on the bench, didn't get anything at all. And I missed out then on first bench. Doherty would have had a 12-pointer. So kind of sums up my season a little bit. But things like this happen, don't they?
They do, mate. They do. Yeah, absolutely. You can be too active and act on that. I mean, I know quite a lot of people. There was a rumor Aguero wasn't going to start in the first game.
Yeah, so there's that as well. Yeah.
Who then did nothing in the first game, and it's really sometimes that in the know team news that comes out from a suspicious source isn't always right. You can't always trust it, and secondly, it might not necessarily get you any more points.
No, that's right. Question from Michael Svedin: will Traore start benefit or prevent Doherty attacks? I think this is a really good point, Michael. It's something I've thought about as well. Doherty last season was obviously very, very prolific when Adama wasn't playing that much, and it seemed that when Adama was playing a lot this year, Doherty was quite stunted. And since Adama hasn't been playing now, then Doherty has gone forward. I'm not sure whether that's a coincidence or whatever else, but I personally think it does stunt his attacks a little bit, but I still think they're both, really good options. You can't really argue. And when Traore came on the pitch last week against West Ham, was it? He actually gave the ball to Doherty, who crossed in for the goal, didn't he? So I thought...
Yeah, I mean, Doherty, what I noticed about Doherty is the later in the game you go, the more forward he pushes up. He's almost plays as a striker in the last 15 minutes. He's just so hungry to get in the box. And Wolves, I don't know if you saw that statistic, they've scored something like 23 goals in the last quarter of a match or something ridiculous, so if you like a bet and you want a goal minutes bet, Wolves are a great team to put your money on, because they'll win you a lot of money late in games, and tonight then again no score so far, but you'll probably see much better second half performance from Wolves. They just seem to be a second half team, don't they? So, gone for a drinks break at United. It is a very hot evening here, so not surprised they're doing that hot weather break. To go around the other games.
Fionan had Maguire and Bruno. I was exactly the same Fionan as well. So I've got Maguire, Bruno, and Rashford. So if Maguire had, if that goal was allowed, we'd have been laughing. We'd have been really good.
Yeah, I mean they really are. 1-0 is the minimum that they should have got in the first quarter of this game. So I think very good so far.
Any of the news, Rich? In any of the other games? Anything with Norwich, Everton? I haven't seen a lot on the text.
Yeah, that seems not a lot of chances. Dominic Calvert-Lewin got clattered a few minutes ago, but got up again. Haven't seen a huge amount of goal action here on the Norwich game. It's like I've noticed in many of these behind closed doors games, the first halves there's not much goals, is there?
There's not. It seems
they start very slowly, and then as the teams tire in the second half, there tends to be more goal action. So sorry, I've got nothing to bring you at the moment on the Norwich Everton.
John Tyner, if I hadn't made any subs during lockdown, I would have done better. Haddings, John, it's just the way it's been this season. I've never known a season for it. It's it seems to be this year that when you I'm personally a very engaged manager, right? So I think I'm thinking about stuff all the time, and I'm making actions all the time. I'm always checking team news, checking out for in the nose, checking out on all this stuff, and sometimes, like I did last week, I make decisions off the back of it, thinking that yes, I've got the information, I've got a bonus here, but it just for this season, for some reason, it just doesn't seem to happen like that. I'm in a works league, and normally I walk my works league by 100 points most of the time, right? Because no one really knows what they're doing. They just bring in players who they think are good at football, all this sort of stuff. But this year I'm third in my league, and haven't done anything differently. But when you look at the guys above me and some of the picks they've made, you look and you think, oh, that's not, they've jammed it a little there. They've made like a bit of a casual pick almost. They've jumped on last week's bandwagon, which has been rewarded this year.
Forgot to change their captain, and it came through with them.
Yes, exactly things like that. It's very annoying, but yeah. John, I had no City players. Bad mistake. Yes, that was a bad mistake for a double game week. John, slap on the wrist there. SA Sports Fanatic, great move going to Mane from Salah. I also got Mahrez. Are you looking to bring Salah back into your squad? So I was actually on a free hit. So I have got Salah in my squad. I was on a free hit last week, so I took out Salah for Mane in a free hit. Happy having Salah in my team. I haven't captained him, but I do expect him to do something later, especially if I had rumours he's going to be playing up front. There's news that there's rumours that Firmino isn't playing, and it's Minamino, Salah and Mane. So if that proves to be the case, everyone reckons that Salah will be playing up front with Minamino on the right, and Salah gets penalties as well, obviously. So Xavier Diaz, Pablo Fornals is the key. I'm not sure what he's referring to there. Didn't think I'm a big fan of Fornals actually for West Ham, but I didn't think he did much last night. Did you watch the game, Rich, last night, Spurs?
I did see the game. Yeah, I did see the game last night. I was. It wasn't great in the first half, was it? It wasn't a classic game. I didn't think much of West Ham. I thought they huffed and puffed a bit, but they don't really have, under Moyes, they don't look like they're going to score any goals, and they don't have a strike. They don't seem to have a striker that they prefer. What happened to Haller? Is he injured, or did he just not in the squad?
I think he's injured, Rich. Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say he wasn't even on the bench last night. I was thinking, well, who are they playing up front? They're playing that other lad, weren't they, up front? Newcastle. Can't remember his name.
West Ham.
But he didn't do it. He didn't think. Yeah, West Ham. They started off with this young lad. I'm sorry. I'm sure they'll
get now
in
the
chat. He didn't do anything significant.
It can't have been that good. Notorious Nerd question: what are you doing with your Liverpool City players next game week? So,
Question.
personally, so I've got De Bruyne for City, and I've got Salah and Alexander-Arnold. I'm personally tempted to just play them. I mean, I've got a decent team. I think it depends as well. I say this all the time, but I think it depends on where you are in your, like, you know, in terms of overall rank, where you are in your mini leagues and things as well. I'm not doing very well, so I may be a bit more tempted to actually have a bit of a punt, you know, and place some others ahead of them and things. But I'm not 100% sure yet. So what about yourself, Rich?
Well, I'm looking forward to tonight, obviously, with having both Salah and Mane and Trent. I think they'll all play.
Nice.
And I think Liverpool will win 2 or 3 at least. But next week, I will, because I've got 2 transfers, I'll probably ditch one of them against Man City because I'm backing into a wild card the following week. So that'll give me some leverage to get a couple of really good players with good fixtures in. Yeah. I don't think I can resist doing that. I've got more value tied up in Salah, so I'll probably keep Salah.
Yeah.
Lose Mane, and then think about, you know, whether Liverpool are on the beach or not. And I'll probably need a couple of games to make my mind up about that.
Yeah, I think that'll be really interesting, won't it? Because Klopp has said that he's going to treat this running as a bit of a pre-season. So I'm wondering whether players like not that you'd obviously choose them from an FPL, you know, a perspective, but players like Origi, maybe Lallana, and players like that may see, you know, a bit more time and stuff. It'll be interesting. Notorious Nerd, how did Aurier look last night? Is he attacking enough? Absolutely, Notorious Nerd. He was flying down the wing. He was basically playing as a right winger. You know how kind of Salah's position for Liverpool, almost kind of wide on that right.
Almost like Son on one side and Aurier on the other.
It was. He was definitely playing as a midfielder, not as a defender. That's for sure. So I think for 4.9 million, I think he is a bit of a steal. Not sure, you know, that you'll get many clean sheets. We've already said. Even though if I just have a quick look at Spurs fixtures, I think they're pretty decent actually. So they've got their away to Sheffield United this coming game week. They've then got Everton, Bournemouth, Arsenal, Newcastle, Leicester, and then finish at Palace. It's not bad that actually, especially that little run there. Sheffield United, Everton, and Bournemouth. These next 3 are not bad. Then got Arsenal, Newcastle, and the thing with Aurier, if he does get an attacking return, he'll very likely get bonus. And obviously they've got this outside chance of a clean sheet as well. So yeah, we never know with them. But I was impressed with Spurs last night. I haven't been impressed with Spurs for a long time, but they did impress me last night. Any questions? Please feel free to put them in the chat. Notorious Nerd as well asks, Rich, this is one for you. How is Bruno looking?
Quite quiet. He's taking corners and free kicks. So he seems to be on all set pieces. But the first half so far has belonged to Martial and Rashford as a twosome up front. But yeah, Bruno's involved, and any time the play is stopped, he's the man. So I reckon he's definitely going to keep penalties. There is a doubt whether or not Rashford is on second penalty because there was that incident with Tottenham, wasn't there, on Friday? And but I think Bruno is definitely a set piece man for United.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, you know, obviously Bruno's a fabulous player, right? But with Pogba in there with him now, it can kind of go one or two ways, can't it? Because Pogba doesn't like to play second fiddle to anyone, does he? And, you know, he's not going to kind of lay out the red carpet for Fernandes and be like, yeah, you know, you run the show. So I do think it'll be interesting to see what kind of happens there. I've no doubt they will, you know, sort it out and they'll be very good. But yeah. SA Sports Fanatics, Aurier had a great game down the right wing, very active, just needs to look up more. Yeah, I completely agree. You know, I think if he can sort that out, I think he would be a very good option. Question for you, Rich, off Michael Svedin: is big at the back as an option?
Well, I'm playing 4 at the back tonight, so I'm playing Trent, Doherty, Lascelles, and Holgate this evening. So far, so good for Lascelles and Holgate. I definitely think because of the stats just pointing to, you know, few goals in the first half of games, you're going to get more clean sheets. So, why not have, 2 or 3 premium defenders and then some cheaper ones that you can play according to fixtures. So certainly 4-4-2 is not a bad formation. In my view. I don't know about 5 at the back, and I don't know about having 4 premiums, which is where we started the season, wasn't it? So I'm not sure about that, but yeah, 2 or 3.
Thing with a player like Laporte as well, he's so important to Man City that I think he starts most games, but he's also likely to come off most games as well. And if he can make it to like 65, 70 minutes, he's basically, he's basically a lock-in clean sheet, right? Because he gets a clean, he's
absolutely. And when the listener was asking earlier about differentials on a wild card, I think if you're doing a wild card in game week 33, something like a De Bruyne, Jesus, Laporte combination would be a really good 3 players, because a lot of you still got 2 attackers for City, you still got people with a lot of goal involvement, but you maybe don't need 3. And if you have that defender, Laporte is going to play 5 out of 6 games probably. He's going to start them. He might get a rest in the cup game. He might get a rest for one of the games towards the end of the season. But he's going to play, and they do. They haven't conceded yet, have they? They've been winning 4-0, 5-0 or whatever. So he tightens them up, and he's definitely an option. But there's so many City options. Foden's a good option, Mahrez a good option. So yeah. But I'm looking at Laporte definitely.
And when we're talking about differentials here, you don't have to go too far down in terms of quality either. Right? So I'm just having a look here at, kind of list of ownership. You've got like Sterling, right? So Sterling's only, according to this, 15% owned. Which, if that's right, that's quite low, and that's it. And that's differential. And talking of Man City, their fixtures. So they got Liverpool next week, as we know. Then after that, they've got Southampton, Newcastle, Brighton, Bournemouth, Watford, and Norwich. You could not ask for a better final 6 fixtures. So
no, well that's it. So literally, if you're going to do a wild card in 33, you would be mad not to load up on 3 City players and just say, have a decent bench, so that you are going to, if one of them doesn't play, you've got to cover. That's all you've got to make sure. You don't want to do that and have 3 duds on your bench, because you're going to need your bench. So
I completely agree.
Easily done.
Yeah,
easily done.
So you've got Sterling at 15.81%. Rashford's still only owned by under 17%. Traore, 18.75%. Calvert-Lewin, 15.3%. Firmino, 11.7%. Mason Mount, who I thought looked very good in the first game, but in the first half, 16%. Harry Kane is under 10% owned, and he looked good last night. And Spurs have got good fixtures as well, so you can even go there. Martial, who scored and looked really good this evening, 11.86%. Richarlison, Everton's fixtures from 34 onwards, I believe. Let's have a quick look. So they've got Leicester and Spurs next, and they've got Southampton, Wolves, Villa, Sheffield United, and Bournemouth. So Everton's fixtures finish up really, really nicely. And Richarlison's Richarlison's only 11% owned. Doherty is only 11% owned as well. So we're talking. This is what I mean. Is we're talking about really, really, really good options, because there's a spread of players now, right? That's the difference. There's so many good options that ownership has dried up, and also I think that there are probably a lot of managers who haven't come back and made some transfers, who've just kind of got disengaged from FPL. So this is why these players are good options. Question, Rich, predictions for City Chelsea. Do you think Lampard will change his system to 3 at the back to fit Alonso, or just bring back Reece James in a big game, with Rich being a Chelsea fan?
Great question. Yeah, I'm a Chelsea fan. Alonso's got quite a good record against Manchester City, I think. I can see him playing.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. So I can see Alonso start, because I think Lampard needs his attacking threat to do well. I mean, I like Alonso. He if I was going to have 3 at the back, it would be Trent, Doherty, Alonso would be my 3 choices. But the only doubt is obviously that he may get rotated if they if they play Reece James and Aspi at right back. So you know, I think Alonso will play against City, and I think just a chance. I got it down for a draw personally. I think it'll be one.
That's interesting.
One all or something like that. I think Chelsea are looking all right, but
I think they are. Yeah.
I think it'll. That one will be. I wouldn't necessarily go heavy on City for that one, but I think that'll be quite a close one.
And City as well. They do finish off games really well. With all their substitutes and stuff. But with Aguero gone, it does give them. Because Aguero, I find that when Aguero plays, it's not just all about him either. He stretches the defense. He makes his runs. He attracts defenders' attention. Whereas Jesus, he's a very kind of different kind of player as well. So yeah, I'm not convinced that City will smash Chelsea at all. Fiona has just said, Rich, that Lys Mousset is coming off.
Yeah, there's a double substitution about to take place in the United game, so maybe part of this is tactical.
Wow.
So yeah, Mousset has come off. I'm just trying to look to see who's coming on. So I guess they're adjusting. Give me 1 second. I'll let you know who else is coming on.
Okay, buddy. SA Sports Fanatic, I think your spelling is spot on there. He says, would you go Doherty or Azpilicueta? Excuse my spelling, but I think your spelling is bang on there, mate, from what I can see, so I wouldn't worry about that. I would personally choose Doherty out of those. Just looking at the fixtures, Chelsea have got nice fixtures in the short term. So they've got West Ham, Watford, Palace, Sheffield United and Norwich. They've got some beautiful fixtures. They do finish with Liverpool and Wolves. Azpilicueta likely to share some minutes, I think, with people like James and Alonso, even Emerson. If Emerson gets some things, but Wolves fixtures, he's much more attacking as well. I say that Azpilicueta was very attacking in the last game. It's just his age. But Wolves fixtures, Villa, Arsenal, Sheffield United, Everton, Burnley, Palace and Chelsea, they've got a nice finish there as well. So they actually play each other on the final game. I'd go for Doherty. Looks like Mousset is continuing now, Rich. Is that right?
Or maybe that's why I didn't get these subs, because
maybe that's why it didn't actually happen.
I'm frantically looking around for them, and they came to the touchline and then sat down again. Sorry about that.
Fiona, that's an interesting name. Is that a Welsh? It sounds like a Welsh name. Let me know if that's a Welsh name, or whether it's some other thing. Let us know where you're from in the chat as well, guys. We usually have a very, very global audience. It'd be great to know where everyone is from and how everyone is doing out of all this lockdown as well, because it's been some really tough times. Rich and I live in Wales. Rich lives in England. Wales is at the moment very much locked down. Where in England, Rich, they're opening the pubs and everything.
The pubs are opening, albeit with the fact that they have said the pubs are opening, but they're not going to show any football matches. So that's one of the purposes of going to the pub out the window. So they're not allowed. They're not allowing broadcast live sport. And also, if you go with your friends, you've got to sit with your back to them. So I'm not sure what the attraction of going to the pub is really, apart from maybe a pint in a beer garden. So but they did announce that yesterday.
Yeah. John, yeah, you're right. Actually, Fiona, and it could be Irish. Yeah, it sounds like a Welsh name. Osama Ajubafar from United Arab Emirates, but from Palestine. Great to have you on, Osama. Thank you so much for joining us. And SA Sports Fanatic, Doherty for sure. Yes, absolutely. No worries, Osama says, thanks for a great show indeed. Tell all your friends, the more we can get on you, the more we can get watching and stuff. This is about our 5th or 6th one now. We were doing it on a Saturday afternoon. We're trying to get better, we're trying to improve all the time, so please tell your friends, retweet, send them a message, do whatever you do.
Another goal.
It's a goal from
Martial scored again.
Martial again.
This time from a Wan-Bissaka assist, I think. Let me just watch
the
replay and confirm that. But and Martial's having a stormer here. It's 2 minutes from half time. Sheffield United don't really look at it here.
2-0 Man United. And
Pogba to Wan-Bissaka. Easy. Just 8 yards out, tapping.
Martial.
Lovely cross. Wan-Bissaka assist.
It's amazing how Martial hasn't had much attention, is it? Because he's playing up front. He's the focal point of this team at the moment. And people are talking about everyone else except Martial. It's bizarre. SA Sports Fanatic. He's from, I say he, and maybe she, South Africa, but currently in Romania of all places. Is that working? Are you stuck there? Let us know. That is interesting how you've come there. And Osama has joined the hub. Top man, Osama. The hub is the place to be. I can assure you, it is the best fantasy football site out there. Notorious. I wish I captained Martial over Bruno. Absolutely. Martial looks a really good pick. And United's fixtures, well, let's not even get started on those. So next, Man United have got Brighton. They've then got Bournemouth. They've then got Villa. They've then got Southampton. They've then got Crystal Palace. They've then got West Ham. And they finish with Leicester. So if you haven't got triple Man United, get on them, because they are going to rip up some trees. They're also in the FA Cup. They've got, I can't think who they got on the weekend. Norwich, I think. Yeah, they got Norwich in the FA Cup.
That shouldn't be a problem, looking at having looked at Norwich.
I think something might have happened with Newcastle and Villa. Not sure. Just wait a second.
No, nothing much happening to report up there. There's been quite a few bookings in the Wolves Bournemouth game. About five players booked. Some of them are reasonably popular. I think Sayis is the most popular player who's been booked. He's been booked for Wolves. Neves has been booked.
I've got Sayis.
Steve Cook has been booked. Brooks has been booked, and Callum Wilson has been booked. So
wow, there's a lot of bookings. It sounds like a bit of a physical game.
On you. But Newcastle, not much happening there, and no one has been booked.
No one has been booked. So sounds like a brilliant game then.
Yeah, it sounds like a brilliant game. Well, we switch over to the Wolves game in the second half and put that one on, because Wolves are a second half team, and there's not much happening in the Norwich Everton match. That looks like going in at 0-0 at half time. They're just in stoppage time right now. So
we do have a short quiz at half time. So you can go and get your drink, go and get go and refresh yourself, go and visit the loo, wherever you need to do. But we do have a short quiz, so I'll be quizzing Rich. It's not too difficult, I'm hoping, Rich. There's some easyish ones in there, and obviously everyone in the chat as well. I'll be quizzing you as well. So just keep your own scores, and then after that, then we'll see who our winning listener is as well. Gary B, I went De Gea over WBA. Wan-Bissaka last minute as my Man U defensive coverage. Yeah, that is unlucky. Wan-Bissaka, he's apparently in the lockdown training. He was doing a lot of attacking training apparently. So I think I haven't seen it, but clearly it's showing there. Martial's price is going to rocket now for this next.
It is. He's a snip at 8 million.
He is, and he's a midfielder, so he even gets the clean sheet points. It's absolutely farcical.
I mean, what I'm getting out of this particular broadcast so far is half a wildcard team so far. I've made for my own pad or with ticks by them for Aurier, Martial, Jesus, Laporte, and Rashford. So there we are. That's five of my list already. So keep going, guys.
Martial is under 12% owned, mate. He's an absolute snip. He looks good. Okay, we're approaching half time. I think it's half times now in Newcastle, Villa, and Norwich Everton. We're just waiting for the half times with United, Sheffield United, and Wolves and Bournemouth. No goals, which isn't good. I've got Calvert-Lewin and Jimenez. No goals so far there, which is disappointing. Let us know how you're doing in the chat. The average then. So the average is 15.7 points so far for the top 10k average, and the overall average is 12.46. Quite low, since half the teams have played, even though obviously the clean sheets are not on there.
I've got 6.
You got 6.
Very good, does it really?
No, but
they've all got 1 point. They've all
obviously the clean sheet points are not on there.
3 defenders in there, so all currently on a clean sheet. So it's hopefully some points coming in the second half, but it would be pretty dull if we don't get any goals in any of those games, won't it?
Absolutely. So just the 2 goals in the one game, Rich. I think we seem to curse it, don't we, when we have all these games?
Yeah, we had one game, didn't we? Have one Saturday when we had no goals at half time or something.
It was really hard work. I'm just going to update the score on here now. But
half time at United, 2-0.
It's half time at United. It'd be interesting to see actually if they make some changes as well, won't it? But Wolves and Bournemouth is now half-time as well. So, Rich, are you ready for your quiz?
Oh, yeah, go on then. Hit me.
That's the question, right? Let me find your quiz. So everyone who's still here on the chat, please stay. Go and have a drink. Do what you need to do, but come back. I tell you what, I'll give them all a minute or so to go and get a drink or whatever else before we start. It's not that difficult, Rich. Well, I say that. I'm not sure actually. It's not. Is it
on? Okay. Well, you never
know. On the Premier League. It's on the history of the Premier League.
Okay. All right.
SA Fanatic. I'm married to a Romanian girl and we have a little girl. Plan to move to Spain as soon as restrictions are lifted. Palma de Mallorca. I went on holiday to Palma last year. What a wonderful place. Really, really gorgeous place. I'm very jealous of you, SA Sports Fanatic. Okay, so let's get on with the quiz then. So please don't shout out the answers in the chat until the end. If you can help it. Want to give Rich a Premier League quiz and for everyone listening as well. So question 1, Rich. Who was the first club crowned Premier League champions in the 92-93 season? The first ever Premier League champions. Write it down, actually, Rich, so everyone can write their answers down, if that's okay.
Okay.
Just have a guess if you don't know, obviously, but write them down. That is question 1. Please don't shout out in the chat yet if you are listening. Okay.
Yep.
Which club finished runners-up in the same season? A bit of a harder one there, I would guess. So which club finished runner-up in the first ever Premier League season in 1992-1993? SA Sports Fanatics tried to grab a cold one. Absolutely, go and grab a beer, mate, and enjoy. Okay, question 3. Derby County hold the unwanted record of worst points total after 38 games in the history of the Premier League. How many points did they get in that dreadful season?
Well, exactly.
Well, I'll give you half a point for being within a range, but
okay. All right.
But yeah, that's question 3. All right. This one you may have to have a bit of think about, but 8 Englishmen occupy spots in the top 10 all-time Premier League goal scorer list. So that's 8 Englishmen out of 10. Can you name the 2 non-English players that make up the other 2 spots? This is the all-time Premier League goal scorer list.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so that is question 4. For those who are just joining us now, we're just doing a quick half-time quiz. Please join in. Don't shout the answers out yet in the chat, but we will have a look after how many everyone got right. Question 5. How many Yorkshire clubs have played in the Premier League? And I'll give you an A, B, or C on this one, Rich. So
okay. Yeah.
A is 6, B is 8, and C is 10. So either 6, 8, or 10 Yorkshire clubs in the Premier League.
Wow.
Sorry, have played in the Premier League. Welcome to everyone watching now. We're just doing a quick half-time quiz, so please don't answer the questions yet in the chat, if that's okay. Okay, question 6. Alan Shearer holds the record for the most Premier League goals scored. How many does he have?
Okay. I think that's the first one I actually know.
You actually know. The rest are educated guesses. I will give you a few points for effort and range. I'm not gonna tuck you right up, mate. Don't worry. The fastest Premier League goal was scored in 7.69 seconds by Southampton's Shane Long against which team? I think this was fairly recent, actually. I think this is in the last couple of seasons.
Okay, I'll have to think about that one.
It's okay, mate. No worries. You can have a little think at the end. Question 8. Who holds the record for the fastest Premier League hat-trick, which was scored in 2 minutes and 56 seconds?
I think I know that one as well, but I'm not fully sure.
Okay, so for those who are joining now in the chat, please don't answer these questions as yet. giving Rich a test and everything in the chat. Please just write your answers down, and then we'll see at the end. Oh, everyone's answering the chat now, Rich, but you can't see the chat, can you? So it's all good.
No, I can't see the chat.
Okay.
So don't worry, I'm not cheating.
Okay. No, it's good. So I'll just redo question 8. Who holds the record for the fastest Premier League hat-trick, which was scored in 2 minutes and 56 seconds? Okay.
Yep.
I remember this one, and the reason I remember him is because I took him out of my team, as I always do. Question 9. Which goalkeeper has kept the most Premier League clean sheets with 202? That is a lot of clean sheets.
202.
202 Premier League clean sheets. For those who've just joined, please don't answer the questions yet in the chat. We're just doing a quick half-time quiz while we are waiting for the restart of the action. Okay, and question 10. Which team has lost the most Premier League games with 380? That is final question 10.
Great quiz. 380.
380 games. So for those who have just joined us, and for those who want me to rerun the questions through, so just a quick halftime quiz, 10 questions. Please write your answers down. Do not put them in the chat yet. I'll just run through them again very quickly. So question 1, who was the first club crowned Premier League champions in the 92-93 season? Question 2, which club finished runner-up in the same season? Question 3, Derby County hold the unwanted record of worst points total after 38 games. How many points did they get in that dreadful season? Question 4, 8 Englishmen occupy spots in the top 10 all Premier League goal scorer list. Can you name the 2 non-English players that make up the other 2 spots? Question 5, how many Yorkshire clubs have played in the Premier League? So that's either 6, 8 or 10. Question 6, Alan Shearer holds the record for the most Premier League goals scored. How many does he have? Question 7, the fastest Premier League goal was scored in 7.69 seconds by Southampton's Shane Long against which team? Question 8, who holds the record for the fastest Premier League hat-trick, which was scored in 2 minutes and 56? I think the previous holder of that was Robbie Fowler, but this happened in the last 5 or 6 years, I think. Question 9, which goalkeeper has kept the most Premier League clean sheets with 202? And question 10, which team has lost the most Premier League games with 380? So that is your half-time quiz. I will give the answers out in a mo. But what?
That's a great quiz. Really good questions, Andy. Really, really
good. I tried to make it not too hard, but obviously, I want to.
You pitched it right. I'll have to get a copy of it from you, and I'll give it to my mates because that's a great quiz round. So, okay, all right.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Okay,
I've a lot of guesses in there, so I'm going to get somewhere between 2 and 5. Right. Be my predictions.
I will give the answers out in a minute or two. I just want to run through the half-time results and the bonus points. Just so for those who don't know, assuming most do, but Man United are 2-0 up against Sheffield United. Anthony Martial with both goals, with assists from Wan-Bissaka and Rashford. Moore as Sheffield United has also made 2 saves as well. So it looks like Man United are very much on their way to a comfortable win there. In terms of bonus points, Martial is on 43 bonus points, leads the way by some distance. Wan-Bissaka on 21, then Lindelof on 14. Rashford only on 13, so Rashford's not in the bonus yet, which I'm sure will frustrate a lot of people. So that's the bonus points for that game. Norwich, Aston Villa. Douglas Luiz has had a yellow card. Dubravka and Nyland have made 1 save each. In terms of the bonus points, it doesn't really matter, but Shelvey and Saint-Maximin are on 10. Konsa and Lascelles are on 9. El Ghazi on 8. Not much really going on there. Norwich and Everton. So Kroll for Norwich has made 2 saves. Pickford has made 1 save for Everton. And again, it doesn't really matter, but Holgate is on 12 in the bonus point system. Holgate on my bench. Digny and Keane are on 11. Closer is on 10. Kroll on 9. Sounds like not the most exciting game in the world. And finally, Wolves and Bournemouth. So no saves, which is not a good start, especially being Jimenez owner. But Saiss has got a yellow card, as has Neves. Steve Cook has also been booked, Callum Wilson and David Brooks. And in terms of the bonus points, Willie Bolly is currently on 12. You've then got Adam Smith and Jack Stacey on 8 each. Johnny Otto on 7. Just a quick peek at the top of the FPL points charts. Martial is on 14 points at half time for his goals. That does include projected bonus points of 3. Obviously, he gets the extra goal points because he is a midfielder. Not forgetting, we will have the Liverpool versus Crystal Palace team news at 7:15. So, quiz questions then. We are now allowed to put in the chat, so I will just read them out and put your answers in the chat. So, Rich, who was the first club crowned Premier League champions in 92-93?
Well, big guess just based on percentages, Manchester United.
Manchester United. Let everyone know in the chat who everyone thought that was. But the correct answer was Manchester United. Well done, Rich. 1 out of 1. Which club finished runner-up in that first season?
Again, another guess. I've gone for Arsenal.
It was actually Aston Villa, surprisingly.
Was
enough.
it?
So they were
very good.
A big team there back in the day. Question 3, Derby's points total in the worst ever season. How many points did they get?
Okay.
If you can get within 3, I'll give you half a point.
Okay. Well, okay, in that case, I'll go for 11.
Oh, 11 is bang on the money, Rich. Bang on the money. 11 points. Okay. I'll give you an extra point for that one because that is very impressive. And well done. John got 11 as well. Some guesses of 14 and stuff in the chat. If there is a goal, we will obviously just stop and go straight to the goal. Unlucky guys, Abdullah guessed 17, but it was only 11. Derby had a horror. Okay, question 4. 8 Englishmen occupy spots in the top 10 all-time Premier League goalscorer list. 2 non-English players in that list, Rich?
Okay, well, Thierry Henry, definitely.
Yep.
And I reckon Sergio Aguero's in that list. Is he? If not,
he is.
I'm not sure he's made it. Has he made it? Is that the other one?
2 out of 2, Rich. You are absolutely on fire. Well done in the list. There's a couple of guesses of Drogba, maybe Bergkamp. Abdullah had it right. Henry and Aguero, well done. Gary B had it right. Aguero and Henry. John had Henry as well. Well done, everyone. Great stuff. Question 5. How many Yorkshire clubs have played in the Premier League? 6, 8 or 10?
Well, I'd struggle to name 8 or 10 Yorkshire clubs. So, but I mean, I'll go in the middle and guess 8.
Oh, Rich, you are absolutely on fire. It's 8. Yeah. So I think that is that 4.5 points out of 5 or something ridiculous like that you've had.
Well, if you give me the bonus point,
I'll give you the bonus point. You deserve it.
Anyone I've got the Arsenal one, so I got 5.
You deserve it. If someone on the chat can find those 8 clubs, that would be really good. I'm thinking of there's the 2 Sheffield clubs. There's Leeds, Bradford. I think Hull might be classed as well. That's 5 off the top of my head. We just need another 3 there. Fionn says absolutely you are on fire. Bradford, you're right there, John. Yeah. Okay, question 6. Alan Shearer holds the record for the most Premier League goals scored. How many does he have? This is quite a well-known one, I think.
260.
Spot on. Well done again, Rich. That is 6 points out of 6 questions, I think. So very good. Let us know in the chat if you had that one right. But 260. Burnley, Gary. No, I think Burnley's over the other side, Gary. Burnley's over Manchester way, I think. Question 7. The fastest Premier League goal scored. Was scored.
This is a complete guess, and I just picked a fairly useless team to from a Premiership perspective to go for. I just said West Brom is my guess.
Rich, you're wrong on that one. I'm not giving you that. I'm not giving you that one. You got to be carried away there. It does start with W though. It was Watford. So if anyone got Watford, well done. But Shane Long scored in 7.69 seconds. Against Watford. I think that was fairly recent as well in the last year or two.
Yeah.
So, just so everyone's aware, some of the matches have started. Norwich and Everton is back up and running. The other 3 aren't yet. So if there are any goals or any action, we'll obviously jump.
It's coming out of United now.
Straight to that. Question 8. Who holds the record for the fastest Premier League hat-trick? Scored in 2 minutes and 56.
Pretty sure this is Sadio Mane.
It is Sadio Mane. So he did it for Southampton, and I took him out of my TFF team the week before which is why.
Wasn't it the perfect hat trick? Wasn't it a left, a right, and a header?
It might have been. It might have been. I'm not sure who it was against, but it was about 5 or 6 years ago. So very good. And Lucky John said Sterling. No, it was Mane. I think before that it was Robbie Fowler. I just think he scored in 3 minutes and 6 or 3 minutes and 3 or something like that. So Barnsley, another good shout. SA Sports Fanatic. Barnsley and Huddersfield. Yeah, you're right there. So which goalkeeper has kept the most Premier League clean sheets with 202? Have you got a lot of clean sheets?
I thought about, obviously, someone who's been around a long time. So my guess again is Petr Cech is the guess.
That is a fantastic guess, Rich, because it is correct. Another one right. You have done it very, very well on this quiz. Yeah. Great stuff. Good guess, John, in Seaman, but no, the answer was Cech. Obviously, he had a lot for Chelsea, and he would have had quite a few for Arsenal when they were a good team as well, says the Spurs fan. It'd be interesting to see if there's any Arsenal fans in the chat what they think of David Luiz's contract extension.
Yes,
I've seen some money wasted over the years, but Arsenal are doing bloody well at that.
Very lucky man.
A very strange one. All the games have restarted, just so everyone knows. We will jump to them now. Just this final question, this final quiz question.
Right.
What team has lost the most Premier League games with 380?
Okay. Again, an educated guess based on the fact that Everton have never been down from the Premier League. They've obviously been in it for 30 years. So I'll go for Everton as the guess.
It's a very good shout, mate. It's wrong, but I can see a lot. And that would have been my guess as well. Anyone on the chat? So he hasn't got this one, Rich. Which team has lost the most Premier League games with 380? We've had a couple of guesses of Everton, but it's not. You've all got one extra guess quickly. First one to get it doesn't get anything except our admiration and respect. So keep guessing away on that one. We do have a winner, Abdullah. Abdullah M is correct. The answer is West Ham. West Ham have lost the most Premier League games
on my mind,
with 380. So well done, guys. Really good stuff. Hope everyone enjoyed that.
Thank you, Andy. That's really good. I think I got 8 there, so that's
8 out of 10 is bloody impressive, Rich. Let's see your scores in the chat, everyone. Let's see.
Swap it for some fantasy points.
Let's see how you did. If anyone managed anywhere near 8, I'd be really impressed. I think I probably would have got maybe 6 or 7 there potentially. Definitely would have got Villa, but
very good though. I shall give that to my mates.
We will do the quiz every week. So we're going to be back next Wednesday. There are 3 games next Wednesday evening. So we will do the quiz next week again. Thank you, Gary. Good quiz. 6 out of 10. That's a good score, Gary. I think I would have scored about that as well. So we'll have a different theme every week, and we'll do a different quiz. Put Rich right on the spot, but good knowledge there, Rich. 8 out of 10 is bloody impressive.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, mate.
Football is back up and running. Nothing to report yet, so we're just going to plug anyone who plays Sky. So for any Sky managers, don't forget every Sunday evening we record a live Sky Fantasy podcast. With former winner Dan Cox. So on this podcast, we've been doing it now since the turn of the year. We've got Dan Cox, who won Sky 3 years ago. We've also got Paul McNulty, who was actually in the chat earlier, who's come fourth in Sky as well. We've got the very, very best players. Same for FPL. Rich here is one of the best FPL managers in the world. He's got one of the best records ever. But if you play Sky, we do a live stream every Sunday evening. In that chat, we've actually got the fellow who's actually currently top as well. He joins us on there, and some others in the top 50 as well. So it really is the best place to be for Sky. So if you like that, we do it every Sunday evening at 9 o'clock. So no action yet, Rich. Abdullah got 8 out of 10. Fantastic score there, Abdullah, in the quiz. Well done. I tried to make it, as I say, not too hard, but it's always good when you know a few, isn't it? Right? There's nothing. There's nothing worse than, like, you know, Steve Potts made 120 appearances for West Ham, but how many of them were at home? You're like, oh god, when you just kind of like guessing all the time. It's not much. It's not much fun. And just a reminder, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please press subscribe. In the bottom right hand corner of your screen, you will get all of Will Thomas's videos. Will, again, one of the best FPL managers in the world, one of the best records, also one of the best Sky managers actually, and the CEO of the Hub. You'll get all his videos. You'll get our weekly FPL podcast, and you will also get a subscription to this live show as well. Please tell everyone all about it, guys, if you can. It'd be great for us to, really make this into a a staple of everyone's Saturday afternoon diet when the football is back. And just in terms of the FPL podcast as well, we're currently recording every Thursday and Saturday evening because of the tight deadline. So myself, Adam Hopcroft, and Andy Green. So Andy Green finished third in FPL last season. Adam Hopcroft is one of the best FPL managers out there as well. We want to make sure that we get the information out to absolutely everyone. So we're recording twice a week, and that is on our podcast channel. So please do that. Okay, so give us some questions in the chat, guys. What are you hoping for this second half? So I've captained Jimenez, and neither keeper has made a save yet in that game, apparently, which I'm quite frustrated at. It was a bit of a risk, knowing that Bournemouth defensively, even though they're not actually that bad, but I was hoping for a couple of goals from Jimenez, or at least a couple of returns, but there haven't been anything yet, and nothing either in Norwich and Everton. Are we going to see a flurry of late goals? Let's only hope. In the chat,
Sigurdsson's come on for Everton, so that's encouraging. He's come on for Davies, so that should lead to a bit more creativity.
On for Tom Davies, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. That should hopefully lead to a bit of creativity. John Tyner, really hope Bruno and Jimmy do something. Me too. I had such high hopes. We were just saying before we started, Rich and I, that both our teams on paper this week, it's more or less a free hit team. It's like, look, it looks really good. It looks perfect. We both got all the players we want, but nothing much has happened yet. So Fiona wants a Bruno goal, assuming you've captained Bruno.
Yeah, he's fairly quiet so far, Bruno. I mean, he's very highly captained this week. Only second by 1 or 2% to Salah, isn't he? So if he doesn't score anything, then that's sets it up for the Liverpool game later on. He's just taken a corner, Fernandez, so he's still involved in everything.
Yeah,
long way to go in that game.
It's funny actually, because overall in the whole game, again, not forgetting that actually, probably everyone listening to this is pretty hardcore, I would guess, the same as us. But Fernandez in the whole game is only being captained by 4% of all players in the whole game. I do think I wouldn't be surprised if probably 80 to 90% of all FPL players have just gone, because they're like casual players who just go into like a worksmate league or something and then just kind of drop off. But well done to everyone on this chat for keeping it going, and the new season's just around the corner as well. So I've heard Mootins that the new season will start kind of 12th or 13th of September. If that's the case, there's not going to be much of a turnaround, because this season, there's been a goal at Everton. I believe Everton have scored. Everton have scored a goal. Hopefully it's Calvert-Lewin.
Hopefully it is, yes, hopefully.
But Everton have scored against Norwich. It hasn't been VAR'd out yet, which we're always nervous about.
For a second, I'll just switch over to that live.
Michael Keane, Fiona says Michael Keane, which may intimate a set piece, which may intimate a Sigurdsson corner potentially.
Yeah, probably.
I would guess, but
yeah, hang on a sec, it's just coming in now. Yeah, it is Keane with a header from a corner. You're right, Andy. Just trying to see who's taken that corner. Yeah, it's a clean header, no assist in the box. So whoever took the corner.
Norwich 0, Everton 1 then. So Everton have finally made the breakthrough, but it's not the people who everyone wanted. It's not Calvert-Lewin. It's not Richarlison.
I think it's Digne with the corner.
Digne.
So he's got Lucas Digne. He takes a lot of the corners.
He may still have a bit of ownership, in all fairness. So just have a quick look. He's not owned by. He's owned by under 10% actually.
Yeah.
By the look of it. So
confirms the Lucas Digne assist.
Digne assist. Well done to anyone who held on to Digne, because he looks. He's looked a really good option. I think Everton next year. I don't know what you think, Rich, but I think Everton under Ancelotti have improved a lot, but I think they will also improve again. What are your thoughts on Everton for next season?
Yeah, I think they're a decent shout for a Europa League level type spot. They've got some good players. Yeah, Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin's come on great guns under Ancelotti. He's been in my team for 3 months, and more than 3 months, obviously 6 months, and and he's not going anywhere at his price, and he's a really good player. I think Holgate looks good, promising player. He's in my side as well. Very good at 4.3 if you want a cheap defender for the run-in. I like Everton. I wouldn't expect too much out of them in terms of thrashing other teams, but they are capable of grinding out 1-0 wins. Yeah.
Okay. So Keane, he's only owned by 0.01% of players, but wow. he is up to 10 points. So well done if anyone has got Michael Keane. Good stuff. Yeah, I do think Everton. I do fancy Everton for next season. I think Ancelotti's he's a fantastic manager, and I saw a surprising stat about Calvert-Lewin that he had the fastest sprint of the whole of last season, which quite surprised me because he's a tall guy. He's renowned for kind of knockdowns and being good in the air, but apparently he's very, very quick as well. He had the quickest sprint in the Premier League, something like 34 miles an hour. Not miles an hour, 34 kilometers an hour or whatever it was. So he's a very, very fast runner as well. So I think Everton are going to do well next season. Abdullah, I need Saint-Maximin to do something. He is one of my differentials. What a player he looks like as well. He reminds me of Mane at Southampton, and an early Adama as well. Just one of those players, but he's incredibly skillful as well. You're not quite sure what he's going to do, but neither is he. But I think Saint-Maximin, from what I've seen of him, I think he's going to be a wonderful player. I think he's going to be very good, and I'd be very surprised, unless Newcastle get this new owner in, and they spend a lot of money and build up a team kind of around him. I think he may go in the next year or two to a big club, because I think he's got all the raw ingredients of what we've seen in someone like Mane.
Got the just to interrupt you, sorry, Andy, we've got the Liverpool lineup, which everyone's been waiting for.
Fantastic. Please,
all right. So, it's most people are going to be pretty happy with it, actually. It's Alisson in goal, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Robertson returns at the full-backs. Joe Gomez comes into the middle, Van Dijk at the back, Henderson, Fabinho, Wijnaldum across the middle, and then the familiar front three of Salah, Firmino, and Mane up front.
That's their strongest 11, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, so no Minamino, which was rumoured to be, Firmino was going to be rested, but he hasn't been. So, very strong Liverpool team, very familiar lineup with everybody, that you would expect to be there. So that's all good.
Wow, that is...
haven't got the Palace lineup yet, but okay. I think the one that wants is the Liverpool one.
That is very exciting for anyone with Liverpool players. That is a very exciting lineup. But I do think Palace are a good team. I think Liverpool will score a goal or two, but I think the Palace give a bit of a game. Watch now, they'll beat them 4-0 or something like that. But the Palace lineup has just come up on Twitter, Rich. We can't really see it. All we can see is Hennessy, Ward, Saka.
I've got the Palace lineup, if you want it now.
Yes, please,
Hennessy in goal, back four of Van Aanholt, Cahill, Sacco and Joel Ward. James McCarthy and Koyate in midfield. And then Ayew up front, flanked by Zaha and Townsend.
Good team there as well.
Decent, yeah.
It is, yeah. No, I think it'd be tough for Liverpool. I think, I think they're a good team, Palace, and to win away to Bournemouth, is no mean feat, because Bournemouth are holding Wolves away now as well, right? So I think Palace are a good team. John Tyner says Maximin does well in Football Manager. It's always a good. That's always a good clue there. So that's good. And Fiona, music to my ears. I'm not sure whether you mean about Saint-Maximin or whether you mean about the Liverpool lineup. I'm assuming the Liverpool lineup, but yeah, we are waiting for more goals. If you have any questions or comments or anything else, please put them in the chat. It's not very often you get the chance to speak to one of the best FPL managers in the world, in Rich, who is sat directly to my right on the screen. So Rich,
200 miles to your right.
200 miles to my right, but he's 7 top 10k finishes, 2 top 500 finishes. He is the main man. John, remember Townsend's goals versus City? Absolutely, what an absolute screamer! It was. It's like a corner or free kick, and it got headed out, and Townsend caught it on the volley, didn't he? And it absolutely flew into the top corner. I believe it was goal of the season. It was an absolute screamer. Townsend, I'm a Spurs fan, and when he was at Spurs, he was always a good player, but his biggest thing was he was shooting all the time. He used to just shoot constantly, which is not a bad thing from an FPL perspective, in all honesty. But and for England, did he score a hat-trick for England, or am I just making that up now, Andros Townsend? I'm sure he went through a spell.
I think you might be thinking Theo Walcott, but no, Theo Walcott scored a hat-trick for England.
I'm sure Townsend, it may not be, I'm not sure. I'm sure he did something for England. He was in the England fold at one point, wasn't he? And he was like the next big thing.
One decent goal for England when, I can't remember who the manager was, but yeah.
Goal for Wolves. Goal for Wolves. Goal for Wolves. Don't know who scored it yet. We'll see.
I've got the Wolves game on. I'll be able to tell you. I'm on about a 40-second delay with this stream here.
Come on, Jimenez, please. Jimenez, come on.
Coming up soon.
Jimenez, captainers, come on.
Bear with me.
I love it.
There was a shout for a penalty for Wolves. Jota got fouled in the area a couple of minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
Long injury break. But it wasn't given on VAR. I think VAR took a look, but it wasn't given.
It wasn't given.
And it must be coming up fairly soon. There's normally about a 40-second on BT streams, which I'm streaming the game this one. So,
okay, if anyone knows who scored the Wolves goal, let us know, please, in the chat. Wolves have scored, that's for sure.
It's a big cross. It's Jimenez, I think, again from a Traore cross. It's exactly the same as the goal at the weekend.
Come on.
Another fantastic cross from Traore from the right-hand side. And Jimenez just buries it. This is better than the one at the weekend.
Better.
He's flying at it, and the cross is deeper, the cross is faster, but Jimenez met it at the far post and has buried it. Absolutely brilliant goal.
Get in there, Jimenez. Come on.
Superb combination. Traore, brilliant cross again. And yeah, it's a carbon copy of the goal of the weekend.
Wow. Traore has turned into some player, haven't he? Wow.
Yeah.
We'll take that.
You got what you want there, Andrew?
Well, I think that's a first on this show, right? I think that's a first that actually got a captain, a decent captain goal, a differential as well in captain. That's really normally Jimenez, when he scores, he's good for bonus as well. So
very good. That's a tremendous goal. So I'm just adding Traore to my wildcard shopping list there.
I love that
now that I'm buying. It's just going to be a very easy wildcard for me.
I love the way that you're using this whole stream, mate. Just
making notes. Always trying to improve.
To the wildcard team. Just to touch on my strategy then. So I used my wildcard earlier. I used it in 22-24. I came back. I made transfers right up until, all the way through the lockdown. So I was pretty well set with a good rounded team coming back into game week. Was it 30 plus, wasn't it? But I just thought, I just got to go for it. So I free hitted. It didn't do that well. I had Aguero as captain. I had Sterling and I had De Bruyne, but I also chucked in Sheffield United defence. I chucked in Leno, who did well in the first game. He got a 5-point against City and obviously hurt himself in the second game, so only got a 1-pointer. And I had Grealish and McGinn and all these kind of players. So I ended up with 81s, very, very, very small green arrow. So I've only got bench boost left now, which I'm struggling a little bit. I have got a very good rounded team, but I'm wondering, because I think 33, Rich, I think the one you mentioned, 33 is quite a decent set of fixtures in it, I think.
For a bench boost, it could be. The trouble is, for me, I'll have to wild card into it the week before. And so I think if you've only got, if you're not got a wild card, that could be the best week to bench boost,
Okay. Yeah, I need to check. So, so 33. So you've got Norwich and Brighton. Leicester have got Palace. Man United have got Bournemouth, obviously a really nice fixture for Man United. Wolves have got Arsenal, which I actually think is a good fixture for Wolves. Chelsea have got Watford, which is a good fixture for Chelsea. Burnley, Sheffield United. Newcastle, West Ham. And then you've got Liverpool and Villa. And then Southampton and Man City. So, yeah, I think that game week 33 may be the time that I kind of plot to use my bench boost. So my team at the moment, I have got Pope and Henderson as my keepers. I've got Alexander-Arnold, Saiss and Maguire. I've got Bruno. I've got Barnes, who I need to get rid of. I've got Salah and I've got De Bruyne. And I then got Jimenez, Rashford, and Calvert-Lewin. So, and I've actually got Mount and Holgate and Lundstram. So I'll probably try and do a bit of a switch around, maybe Lundstram to Aurier, and see what I can get for Barnes, and then play the bench boost on that one then. So I'm quite happy with that, actually. Any questions in the chat? Please feel free. Any comments in the chat? Let us, if you're watching any of the games, let us know how the games are going as well. I'll just update the average in a second. So the average has now jumped up because clean sheet points have kicked in.
60 minutes, yeah.
So the average in the top 10k now is now 37.33 points, and the average overall is 24.41 points. So it's jumped up. Martial's gone up to 16 points. That is a hell of a haul for Martial. I'm assuming he's still on the pitch as well, Rich. Have we had any subs or anything, Rich, in any of the games that you can see?
No. Well, Andy Carroll's come on for Newcastle for Joe Linton.
Okay.
The Sells has been booked in that game. He's in my side, so lost a point there. That's all that's happened at Newcastle. Nothing, no substitutions. Surprised not to see any substitutions from Norwich yet, being 1-0 down.
Yeah.
Neto has come on for Wolves.
He looks a player.
62 minutes. So, yeah.
He looks a player, Neto, doesn't he? He looks a really good player. I've got him. I play Footstock. I don't know if you've got any Footstock investors in the house, but I've heavily invested in Neto. I think he's one for the future. That and that volley he scored on the weekend. What a goal that was.
Yeah, he was unlucky not to start today.
He was, and I know why I've got a bit of a soft spot for him as well. Is last year he scored at Anfield, but it was VAR'd out, and I think it was only like maybe the second or third goal that had been ruled out for VAR. And all the Liverpool fans were like, kind of laughing and stuff and but I was thinking that poor kid's like 18 or 19 years old. He's just scored a goal at Anfield to maybe give his team the win, and it was VAR'd out.
I remember that. Yeah, that was a cracker, wasn't it? Yeah, he's an exciting young player. Difficult side to get into, though, Wolves, isn't it? Really, I mean, they're obviously still in the Europa League, but he doesn't rotate that team, which makes them great fantasy.
It's good for FPL.
You can almost rely on the same 12, 13 players starting every week. So that's really good. No, I love Wolves. I think they're going to, they're still getting the top four. I mean, they've got a nice run in of games. Win a lot of games, and again, very, very strong at the end of matches. And again, once you see, again, it's taken an hour for them to take the lead, but they're very strong at the end.
Indeed.
Yeah.
John Tyner, thank you, John. So Mousset is now off for Sander Berg, so it looks like that's a bit of a defensive move. And Zivkovic, who again, I think he's a new player for Sheffield United. I think he's a youngster as well, has come on for McGoldrick. So two quite defensive moves there. Maybe Sheffield United are just shutting up shop and don't want to be embarrassed. They do play Arsenal in the FA Cup on the weekend. Arsenal obviously playing. I say obviously Arsenal playing tomorrow night. So against Southampton, which I think is a good game for Ings actually, because I don't think Arsenal have been very impressive.
It's funny, isn't it, how people of fantasy managers are starting to target. Newcastle just taken the lead against Villa.
Oh, they have. Good spot.
Waiting to hear the goal scorer. I'll be back to you on that.
It'd be interesting if it's Matt Ritchie. I was looking at Ritchie, but
Matt Ritchie, yeah, wow.
I was just a bit like, really? He's a bit of a one-game wonder sort of thing.
Chris Town's got Matt Ritchie. He's having a storm. I know, so I've been corrected to Dwight Gale. Matt Ritchie actually went off for Dwight Gale after 67 minutes, so it's definitely not Matt Ritchie. And Gale has scored
Gale has got the goal. Do we know who's got the assist at all?
No, it's just coming through now. I'll come back to you. Luke Shaw has been booked for United just before the drinks break as well.
Yeah, that goal for Newcastle is a bit of a non-goal, really, isn't it? Other than anyone who kept any Villa defenders off the back of the double last week. It's obviously not great for Villa defenders. Thank you, SA Sports Fanatic, telling us about the Newcastle goal. Yeah, so looks like Dwight Gale. We're just waiting for the assist there. John Tyner's let us know as well that Norwood has gone off for McBurney. And John Tyner's got to go because he got a Zoom meeting. Thank you, John. Missed that, but thank you very much. SA Sports Fanatic, how is DCL and Richie doing? Because they are my captains. Not very good at the moment. Though Everton are winning, which is good. They haven't been involved in the goals.
Might get something out of DCL by the end. Still waiting for an assist on.
Looks like it's Andy Carroll.
Andy Carroll got the assist for Dwight Gale. Yeah.
Andy Carroll. I will just update that. Pookie is coming on. We are told as well. So Pookie coming on for Norwich.
Pookie on for Duda and Buendia on for Lucas Rupp. So double Norwich substitution.
So they've clearly rested their players for the Man United FA Cup game on the weekend. Who do you fancy for the FA Cup, Rich? Who do you fancy? There's some big teams left in the FA Cup.
It's almost like it's been rigged, isn't it? With the four top six teams all playing step, but they are all away. So the underdogs have got home games, but they haven't got any fans. So it's almost like it's been rigged to create, the ultimate two semi-finals, isn't it? I mean, obviously, I'd like to see Chelsea getting through, but they've got Leicester, is it?
Yeah,
I think so.
It is. Yes, it's a hard game. That is. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. City and United, I think, will get through. So it's wide open. But yeah, it'd be nice to watch. What I like about FA Cup at this stage is you can watch it without the fantasy agony. You can just sit down and watch a football match.
Not if you play TFF and Sun Dream Team, mate, like I do.
Oh, includes FA Cup,
it does include FA Cup. So you've got to you have to factor that in when you're making transfers. So I've got a lot of players who play for those teams at the moment.
Adama's squaring up to Adam Smith, I think it is. There's a bit of a dust up in the Wolves Bournemouth game. Some fisticuffs. I think it's all calming down, but looked like that might get violent for a second.
Okay. Question from Parthan Nate. Do you guys think triple Man United assets is a good thing for the rest of the season? What are your thoughts on that, Rich? Should we go all in on Man United?
Yes, I think they're looking good enough, and their fixtures are so good that triple United is a good shout. Yeah,
I completely agree. I think their fixtures are mint. They're primed. Sheffield United, let's not forget, are a really good team here, and they're being absolutely walked over. I know it's only 2-0, but I think, with Rashford, Martial, Bruno, Pogba, take your pick. I would pick a defender and two attackers. Because even at the back, I think before they conceded against Spurs, I'm sure I saw they've kept 9 out of 11 clean sheets pre-lockdown as well. So I've got Maguire in my team, but Wan-Bissaka an option, Luke Shaw maybe an option, gets forward a lot, even De Gea in goal, so I would certainly look to go. I'm echoing.
Yeah, I think now we're seeing 2 or 3 games, and Pogba's back, and Martial's showing some form. I mean, I think you just got to pick which 3. I mean, there are a lot of good clean sheet options around from the cheaper teams, so you could almost go for 3 United attackers. But that, I don't know whether you want. The trouble is with any of those, when you spread the assets in one portion of the pitch, if the team has a bad game, you're almost guaranteed to have a bad game week. So perhaps the United defender is still a good shout.
Okay. I can hear myself. Am I echoing?
No, you're all right.
No?
To me.
Oh, I can hear myself. It's quite annoying. Could anyone let us know on the stream if there's a little bit of a lag? I'm not sure if there is or not. Could you just let us know? I can hear myself now, which is really off-putting. Okay.
Anyone's got Traore is unfortunately going off after 72 minutes. Dendonka's coming on for him, but again, I think that's probably because he's being preserved for another start next week. So done very well tonight, but run his socks off.
That's not bad for a Traore too, and I think he's still quite cheap as well, isn't he?
5.8 now. Yeah.
He's what? Sorry, 5.8.
5.8.
5.8. That is good. Question from SA Sports Fanatic. So first he says Greenwood getting closer, which is good. If you had to choose between Greenwood and Foden, who would you go for? I'm assuming you mean in football.
He's got his hat-trick. Martial has got his hat-trick. Sorry to interrupt that.
He's got his hat-trick?
Yeah, hat-trick for Anthony
Martial.
My
goodness.
Looking absolutely delighted with it. I'll give you the assist when I see the replay. But yeah, he's absolutely owned it tonight. And I think the 1 and 2, if you captain Martial tonight, you really are going to shoot up the rankings, because he's had his best game for 2 or 3 years here.
Wow, a hat-trick, that is unbelievable.
Fernandes, it's going to be another Rashford assist. So
Rashford, so Bruno
combination. Those two have combined beautifully tonight, and they've, if you've got them both, you've had a great night. Yeah, very nice football.
Wow,
easy go.
They look good, United. And to the person who asked the question, Parthan, around whether you should have triple United, well, there's your answer.
There's two that I will have. I will probably have triple in 2 weeks.
Wow, incredible stuff. I'll take that now. We had a question off SA Sports Fanatic. If you had to choose between Greenwood and Foden, who would you go for as a player, Rich?
I would probably. I'm thinking about getting Foden. I mean, particularly if I'm now going to get triple United, that's going to cost me quite a bit of money on United. So I probably can't afford premium City players as well. Yeah. So Foden at 5.1, I think it is. As long as you're prepared for him to miss the odd game, he probably makes a really good 4th or 5th midfielder. Because it all depends. If you're going to put all your money in, start coming out of Liverpool premium players going into United who are slightly cheaper, I'm just thinking about the maths. If you have Rashford, Martial, Fernandes, you won't be able to keep De Bruyne and have Sterling, and Jesus. You just won't have enough money. So you need some of the cheaper players. So I would say Foden over Greenwood. I'm still worried about Greenwood's pitch time because of all these players like Pogba, Martial, Rashford. There's too many, really hot players at United at the moment for Greenwood to get regular starts. So I think Greenwood probably starting the cup game.
SA Sports Fanatic, Man United might still get a penalty. Who is the ref of that game if Mr. England is the ref? Yeah, it'd be interesting. Who do you think is on penalties now? Or do we think it's still this, whoever grabs the ball first or whoever fancies it?
I think it's Bruno for the first penalty, but clearly maybe they haven't got a rule that suggests he takes all the penalties, and maybe they have a rule that if you are fouled for the penalty, you don't take it or something like that. So there appeared in the Tottenham game to be this moment where after Bruno had scored the first penalty, when they got that second penalty that wasn't given, Rashford had the ball in his hand when the referee came to take it away from him. So clearly Rashford wanted to take it, and Bruno would probably have let him take it. I don't think he's a selfish player. I think he just likes getting on with the other players, but I think he's been given all set pieces by Solskjaer.
Not sure. I think something may be happening in Norwich, Everton. No, it's not. Sorry, ignore me. Sorry. Just to have a look at the top point scores of the game week so far then. So Martial is still showing as 16, but I don't think that's refreshed from his hat-trick. So he's a midfielder, hat-trick and a clean sheet and 3 bonus. What's that, Rich? 15,
I think that's a shed load.
18, 21 points. I think it's 21 points for Martial. Yeah. Digny has moved up to 11 points, which is a really nice haul for anyone holding him. He's only 1.37% owned. Wan-Bissaka, who is 8.36. Sorry, I've got echoing in my ear. 8.63% owned. Is on 11 points as well. So that's a really nice haul. So he's on the 2 bonus. Probably, I would imagine then that put Rashford on 1. And Raul Jimenez, who is on 96% effective ownership, is on 9 points. So at the moment, he is on maximum bonus, which is great for any captainers like myself and anyone else in the chat. Fioran just said 4 subs at once for Man United. Who is it, Rich?
Well, they haven't made them yet, so they're still lining them up.
Okay, maybe Fioran is ahead of you with his TV.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm watching live, so maybe he's just seeing them lining up.
Okay, just gonna try and refresh the scores. I don't think they have refreshed. Here we go. Yeah, so Martial on 21. The overall average 39.4 for the top 10k, 25.4 overall. Let's have a quick look at my points. Actually got.
I don't think I got that many.
I'm showing us.
I'm stuck on 28 at the moment.
28 points.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Since the average is 25, the top 10 average is more. I'm currently on 37, which is
Okay, so I think it's Igalo, Mata, Daniel James, and a very young lad I don't recognise coming on. Pogba's coming off on 79. Martial's coming off. Rashford and Greenwood. So these guys, the main men, are all coming off. So no more goals tonight, although they've done very well. And clearly
Bruno's still on though.
Bruno's still on. They're clearly all being saved for the weekend's cup game now.
Yeah, Bruno, apparently he was fitter coming out of lockdown than he was going in. So he broke something like the Man United's fitness record when he joined, and then he re-broke it after lockdown. Pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, Man United fans, it looks like the good times are back for Man United. What a performance, and it looks like they haven't had to do much. Yeah, so answer SA Sports Fanatic. Bruno's still on at the moment, yes, but Man United still have one sub they can use. Yeah, just confirm the scores in the other games. So there's 10 minutes left in Newcastle Villa.
Tominay's come on as one of the United subs, actually.
Okay.
That.
It's Newcastle 1, Villa 0. It's Norwich 0, Everton 1. That game is played 83 minutes. And it's Wolves 1, Bournemouth 0 with 10 minutes to go.
Yeah.
So they're
need to hold on to those clean sheets, or it won't be a good evening. I've obviously got the Liverpool game to come, but yeah, that's been a bit of a humdinger if you've got Martial in your team. Martial or Jimenez, and captain either of those, you're having a good night.
Let us know in the chat if you think so. With Liverpool now, should we be getting rid of our assets? So I think Rich and I are thinking maybe in a couple of weeks, kind of see what happens. Has anyone got any definite views on what they think kind of will actually happen? Do we think that they will, people like Salah, Mane, Trent and stuff, will they get rested? Will they play the youngsters, or will they just go to break some records and stuff? Let us know what you think. They are out of Europe, which I do think, has a bit of a bearing. So let us know what you think. And out of the FA Cup as well there. So be interested to hear everyone's views on that, because obviously they have Man City next week, and then after that I think their fixtures are okay, but they're very expensive to own if they're not going to be playing. So let us know what you think about that.
Yeah. A couple of substitutions in the Norwich game. Richarlison's gone off for Moise Keane, who then immediately has been booked. And Vrancic has come on for Teti for Norwich. So they've pretty much used 4 of their substitutions now. Adam Ida is on for Hernandez, and no sign of Campbell yet. So it doesn't look like he's getting on the pitch, and several people would have played Campbell tonight. So it looks like he's going to be not appearing unless he comes on in the last 5 minutes.
Something may be happening in Newcastle Villa, maybe. Not sure. We'll come back now, see if something's happened with that. We didn't answer, Rich. Who you thought would win the FA Cup?
Oh, I'd love to see Chelsea.
Oh, it's 1-1. Villa have scored.
Oh, no,
apologies.
I didn't want that.
There goes your Lascelles clean sheet.
Yeah, exactly. There goes the Lascelles clean sheet.
So
you always lose one.
I'm hoping it's not Grealish, because I had him for the 2 games last week and he did absolutely nothing. But we'll see now as soon as we get that.
Ahmed El Mohammadi.
El Mohammadi. Oh, okay. He hasn't been a starter. I wonder if he came on as a sub.
Came on as a sub. He's been on for 5 minutes. Came on for concert and scored.
There we go, 83 minutes. So that wipes out Matt Ritchie's new suitors clean sheets as well, which is not good. We'll get the assist when we get it. SA Sports Fanatic says Richarlison looked really good versus Liverpool, but I should have gone for Martial. You just never know. I mean, it's so tough. I looked at that game against Sheffield United. Sheffield United have been so strong this season as well that it's very hard to say, could have done this or would have done that, and stuff. And Martial is very low owned as well. So I think you made the right choice. One thing I learned, actually, I've been doing some fantasy football interviews over the lockdown, and one of the best things I took away from that was from Andy Green, who does our podcast. He says when you're assessing a decision, you should not assess the actual outcome itself, because you can't control that, but assess the factors you made. in terms of making a decision. And, if you made the right decision, so I think you did in terms of Richarlison against Norwich, you had half their team out. Richarlison playing really well. Martial, who hasn't been doing a lot against a tight defence Sheffield United. Who was to ever have thought that he would scored a hat-trick? I'm not sure if that's his first ever hat-trick for Man United. So
it might be. I think he scored a couple of braces before, but it's certainly his best game for a while.
It looks like Richarlison has come off. Fionn said
he came off. Yeah, came off on 80 minutes. Yeah.
So he gets his clean sheet point, which is something. So captainers get
true.
6 points
there.
Very
true. Very true. Sorry, that's my dog barking in the background. I can't really do much about it. That's a sign of lockdown, I'm afraid.
Michael Keane is on for a 15-pointer for Everton. The very low-owned Michael Keane. So we're only, what are we? We got 5 or 6 minutes left now in all these games. Let us know how many points you're on in the chat. Let us know. So I'm currently on about 37, I think. I may have a couple of bonus to go on there. Actually, I will have, because I'll have Jimenez bonuses. So I'm in the early 40s actually, which is quite nice and a bit of a change. The average at the moment looks to be around 39 for the top 10k and 25 overall. Let us know what scores you have.
Let us know how big is
came off as well.
after.
Thank you, Fionn. And again, Richie came off, so got clean sheet. Sorry, Richie. I thought you meant Richarlison when you said that. Apologies. So if you did have Matt Ritchie, he actually got his clean sheet. So that is very fortunate for Matt Ritchie holders. So you'll get a nice 6 points there. Thought you meant Richarlison. Apologies. Let us know your scores in the chat, guys. There's still 30 watching. Thank you so much for those who have stayed with us all the way through. We hope you've enjoyed. Not long left. We're still hoping for a last-minute goal. Hoping for a Jimenez last-minute goal to... If he's still on the pitch, that is. I wouldn't be surprised if he's taken off.
He is, yeah. Wolves are still knocking it about quite brightly here. It's still a very sunny evening in the Midlands, and there's every chance there could be a late goal. Bournemouth really aren't doing anything, and it's all Wolves. So,
I did see that in Wolverhampton, it was the hottest place out of the 4 venues.
Oh, was it? Yeah, no, it looks a scorcher. There's only about a quarter of the pitch is in sunshine, but it does look a scorching night for playing football.
So Michael Svedin's on 57 points with no Martial. I'm not sure how you've managed that. That is a hell of a score. So well done, Michael. Who have you got for those 57 points? I'm intrigued with no Martial. Unless you maybe captain Rashford or something like that. But that is a great score. Let us know in the chat your scores, guys. I'm sure we had a Martial owner or even a captain in here earlier. But 21 points for Martial if you had him. So only a couple of minutes left now. Rich, what are your plans for captaincy for the next game week?
Next week's really difficult, isn't it? Because Liverpool are playing City, so I'll avoid that fixture for a captaincy pick. I'll possibly, having watched the United game tonight, possibly transfer in a United player like Rashford or Martial. I'm not sure I can get them both in one move. I might be able to, but and possibly captain one of those against Brighton. They do look like they're going to, win that game comfortably, despite Brighton's good showing. So I think it'll possibly be a United player. But I need to be honest, I don't look that far ahead. I need to look at the fixtures and decide what I'm going to do there. A
really interesting one is Arsenal have got Norwich, and just looking at Arsenal's fixtures. So those managers who have kept Aubameyang, I've seen a few of them kind of holding their hats on the fact that they think Aubameyang will play against Norwich. But Aubameyang, so he's played 2 games already. He's due to play tomorrow night. And he's due to play in the FA Cup on the weekend. So it'll be his 5th game in less than 14 days. Have you got Aubameyang, Rich? Sorry.
I had him on my free hit last week.
Okay.
I was very disappointed with him. Yeah. He had loads of chances, didn't put the ball in the net. I mean, he could have scored. He had 4 or 5 chances in the second half against Brighton. They ended up losing the game. But I just think Arsenal are almost like an avoid at the moment. I just think they're so susceptible. Teams are targeting. I think Southampton will beat them. and that'll be 3 defeats in a row. And I just think it's like, no, just don't go there. There's better options. Even though he will score goals, but he's like a bit like an Eden Hazard. You don't know when he's going to score that 2-goal brace, and then he'll go 2-2-2 and have 3 games where he's nothing. And for 11 million-ish, it's too much money. There's too much good value. I'd rather have Rashford.
It's just Norwich. It's just Norwich here. This is the problem. But I wonder whether that's the game.
True. It is a good fixture, and if you've got a team that is reverting to Aubameyang next week from game 30 because you free hit this week, I would keep him because why wouldn't you? You keep him for one game and then wild card him out afterwards or sell him afterwards. So I mean, I wouldn't rush to get him out but I wouldn't rush to get him in either.
Makes sense. With Arsenal. So if he plays against Southampton tomorrow and they win the FA Cup, so they've got Sheffield United on the weekend. I do wonder because they'll be out. Well, more or less, if they lose tomorrow against Southampton, they'll do very, very well to, get in the top 4 or top 5 because they're like 9th now, right? And they're a few points off. I do wonder if that's the case, whether they'll actually give that and Nketiah a game up front against Norwich.
Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah, he looks quite good, doesn't he?
I don't know.
I think him up in the other part of that. Yeah. And again, if you're trying to load up on all these United City players in game week 33, they are very expensive, and so you need enablers like Nketiah, who's 4.4. Exactly. Is he 4.4?
He is 4.4.
You're going to have a player like that or a Greenwood in your team because you're just having him there to enable you to get the players you want, and that's a sensible move. And if he picks up some games on the run-in and scores on the last weekend for you, then that's great. He's definitely a good option as a bench enabler.
This is it. Yeah. Okay, so we're into injury time now on all the games.
Jimenez, your captain is now coming off. Andrew, sorry to interrupt you. Jimenez just gone off. Very happy man, but he's gone off with 90 minutes just on the clock. So a couple of Wolves late.
I'll take that. I can't argue, especially since Bruno's blanked as well, because I was tempted to captain Bruno. So it's Man United 3, Sheffield United 0, Newcastle 1, Aston Villa 1, Norwich 0, Everton 1, and Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, Bournemouth 0. Just a couple of last few questions in the chat. SA Sports Fanatic. So every FPL manager and his dog will get Marshall in their squads now. Well, at that price, can you blame them? He's a man on form, and he's not going to want to get benched now, is he?
The first post-lockdown bandwagon will be in full swing by midnight tonight, I would think.
8 million as well. What an incredible price. Yeah. Especially given their fixtures that are coming up. They've got fantastic fixtures. Parthan, Man United differentials might be the hot topic for next game week. I got Wan-Bissaka with 9 points and 2 bonus. Absolutely. 11 points for Wan-Bissaka is, it's a really good pick up there. Congratulations, Parthan. Quick question from Farhad Aldawaisan. So, who would you take out to bring in Martial? This is the question. So, Son, De Bruyne, Salah, or Fernandes?
Well,
that is a tough
I think
one.
I would take out. I'm going to take Mane out after tonight because I can get 4.5 million of change from that transaction. I still have Salah. I still have Trent. And I think that's probably enough going into the City game.
Yeah.
And I then can spend that 4.5 million on a striker because I've also got Chris Wood, who's got an Achilles tendon injury. He's on my bench. He's not helping me at all. And I can change him to Jesus, or I can change him to Rashford, or I can change him to, another premium striker. So that's probably what I'm going to do, is take one of my 2 Liverpool. Yeah. If you've got 2 Liverpool premiums, it's possibly getting to the stage where that's too many.
I think for me, it's probably be De Bruyne or Salah. I think I haven't made my mind up yet. I think I'll have to, have a think. De Bruyne
is a big call, though, isn't it, Andrew? I mean, he arguably is the player of the season. Arguably is the best player in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And he's obviously 10.7, and if you're going to get rid of him, you're not going to get him back again, or you shouldn't plan to get him back again because he's a terrific player. At the moment, I can't bring myself to get rid of Kevin De Bruyne. He's got to be a shout for player of the season for me.
Full-time Man United, Sheffield United, full-time at Old Trafford. So well done for those of you who got a Man United defender as well. So you get a clean sheet there. Norwich 0, Everton
Norwich,
1 is finished.
Everton have done it 1-0, so clean sheets for Everton players as well. So Holgate for me, happy with that. Very good. Just the Newcastle and
I think it's
Wolves
just finished
still
as
going
well.
on.
It's just finished now, yeah. So
late pressure at Wolves.
Newcastle 1, Villa 1. Oh no, sorry, it hasn't quite finished. Or at Wolves either. So to answer your question, Fahad, that's a tough one of who to take out. Son, De Bruyne, Salah or Fernandes. Off the top of my head, I would say, out of those four, I would say Son. And in terms of is the Pogba-Fernandes midfield battle for supremacy going to be a thing? I'm not sure it's going to be a thing in terms of supremacy, but what I would say is I think it gives, from an FPL view, Rashford and Martial license to go and get a shed load of points. In terms of any info on the price rises and fallers from SA Sports Fanatic, nothing for tonight, but you would imagine, you'd imagine that Martial.
Oh, it was almost a late goal for Wolves right at the end. Neto clean through, put it wide for 2-0.
It's just finished that game
1-0.
Yeah, and I believe it's finished at Newcastle and Villa as well, 1-1.
Yeah, wow.
So we think that is it from us now. I'm taking this up because I'm echoing, but I'd just like to thank everyone who has joined us. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We hope you enjoyed. Not a lot of goals, only, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 goals in 4 games. We're kind of famous for this now, Richie, and we bet. Thanks so much for everyone who joined us. We're going to come back next Wednesday. There are 3 games next Wednesday. I believe Man United are playing again in game week. That will be game week 32 plus. So we will be back at 5:50 p.m. next week. Please join us. Please tell your friends, tell everyone. You can watch a game, have it on mute, listen to us talk you through it with FPL. Hopefully we'll have some more goals next week. But yeah, that is it from us. So thank you so much, and we will see you next week.
Cheers, guys.